Hey everybody, it's Ziz here. Welcome to Crowfall Insider, your weekly news source for all things Crowfall. And this week we got to look at the Legionnaire, actually in-game, what this quadruped looks like running around and knocking barrels over and attacking and slamming. Lots of cool stuff we're going to check out there. Also, we got to know Thomas Blair a little bit better. He's one of the lead designers making the whole game, and he talks about his past, his gaming experience, how he got into the business. Also, he likes to save kittens. That's right, the guy's like a modern-day superhero. We also get Founder Guild Halls. That's a reward for a lot of people. We're going to talk about that. Also, the CC system, how stuns and knockdowns are going to work, diminishing returns, and also immunity. A whole bunch of interesting stuff there. And last but not least, we got a really funny video on how they made the Griffin and also a long Griffin animation video. We're going to check all that out and a whole bunch more. Let's jump right in. Now, first up here is the Legionnaire looking at his animations, and they look pretty sweet. As you can see, he's actually in plate armor. He's running around this attack here. You see on the last hit there's like a blue trail behind it. That's because the third and fifth hit is what regenerates mana for him. And then he looks like he's kind of running around a little bit slow. You see this? He looks like he's running around slow. It's weird because he moves faster, but because he's so big, he kind of looks slow. I don't know how they can fix it, but it kind of looks a little, I don't know, a little wonky, but pretty sweet animation here. You see he roars up and he's got this commanding like shout situation, and then he spins his spear down and slams everybody back. Now, one thing I just want to point out, that was like a knockback. Now, most of the CC in the game is part of like a 2 or 3 part chain. This, I think, is like number one. It's its own ability. So even though a lot of classes may have their own crowd control abilities, the fact that Legionnaire can get to that knockback instantly without having to go through a whole chain actually makes it really, really good. Not to mention he's huge and he can knock people around. But that's one thing that's pretty sweet there. Now here's a whole wall of barrels. This is their test setup, and you see he runs right through it. Now there's a couple little clipping issues. You see the barrel fall into the screen there. But I just want to play that again real quick. I mean, you see a whole wall of barrels here, and he just charges right through it, which is pretty sweet. Because, I mean, you don't see that in a lot of games and MMOs. Maybe like single player games, they have some of that stuff, but as far as an MMO where you can set stuff up like that, charge through it, that's going to add a lot of gameplay. It's really fun. I love the way it looks. And even the barrels, I mean, look, you can knock stuff around, and this isn't going to just be barrels. I mean, this is going to be lots of things, tons of stuff in the game that you can knock around and interact with. And those barrels, I mean, you could knock some barrels in somebody's way, right? And they can't get you. Overall, I think Legionnaire looks pretty cool. I don't know if I would play it. I mean, he's a horseman. He's a little slow. I don't know. He's pretty cool looking though, right? Like, can't we all say he looks pretty darn awesome? We also got to meet Thomas Blair. This is part of their Murder of Crows video series, where they're going to introduce all the developers and you get to know them. And I actually really like this because Thomas Blair talks about his gaming background, which is, I think, pretty important considering he's like the lead game designer. And he talks about how he started in Ultima Online way back in the day, and then he played EverQuest, and he was actually part of like really high-end hardcore like guilds that he was like world first to get this item. I think it was an EverQuest, and they named it after him in the game. Like, the helmet was named, you can see on his shirt it says Bentos. That was the name of his character in EverQuest. He got this amazing item, like all this stuff. Literally what it all boils down to is that he was a top tier gamer in those games that he played. Also, he played Star Wars, he became a GM and then became a developer and all this stuff, which when I look at it, I'm glad that he was a gamer first and foremost, right? He was a Marine, he was just a regular guy, he was a gamer. He's not just some businessman, he's not just some dude who decided to go to school because he thought it would be fun, but he's a gamer that got involved. And so whether you like every decision he makes, like all the design decisions, at least we know he comes from this gaming background, and that's where he's coming from. He's a pretty cool guy. You get to learn all about him. Also at the end of the video, he talks about how, here, let me just show you, he was in his car and he saw this cat on the side of the road, and anyway, it's kind of fun. Go check it out. You get to know the developers, and I'm really glad Thomas Blair is working on this project. Another quick update was that they're giving away guild halls to anyone who had reserve a guild name as part of their package. So if you have that already, or if you're going to be getting that package in the future, which I believe is Amber or above, they're going to give you a guild hall. They said, why do we let you have a name but no place to meet? Now, a guild hall to me sounds like it's going to be pretty big and pretty awesome looking, a place you can all go hang out and talk and chat and RP to your heart's content. But this is something they could have just put in the store and said, hey, buy it or go in game and work for it. But again, the Artcraft developers on Crowfall, 2 thumbs up. They're being awesome as always. Free guild halls to anyone who has that package or above. Next up was an update they gave about crowd control, which is hugely important, especially in a PvP game. And in general, they talk about how they don't like it when you're just CC'd to death, right? Like you're playing the game and then you get CC'd and CC'd and CC'd and you can't do anything and you just die. And I mean, that's not very fun. And some games try to give you an ability where you can break out of a CC like that, and other games try to make it so there's diminishing returns. And they talk about how is it going to work here in Crowfall. And one mechanic they put in the game really early, totally did a bang up job, was what's called resolve. And it kind of works like a rage bar, but in reverse. Usually a rage bar, if you know, is like you attack and it builds up this bar. Well, it kind of works like that, but instead of attacking to build a bar, it's CC. When you get CC'd, when you get stunned and knocked down, it starts to build up this resolve bar. And when the bar gets full all the way, it's going to give you 15 seconds of immunity. Now remember, that number is going to change, but that just kind of gives you an idea of the time frame they're thinking about. Now, of course, the forums went crazy and they're like, oh my gosh, 15 seconds of being, immune to CC is ridiculous. But think about it. You have to get CC'd so much over and over that it fills up this whole resolve bar to then get that immunity. So it doesn't seem ridiculous at all, but these are the same people that were freaking out about a 3-second stun. So 3-second stun was too long and a 15-second immunity was too long. So I don't know. People want like a half a second stun and a 3-second immunity. I don't know what these people want. Forget about them. But they have the system in the game already working on it, and it sounds like it works pretty good. Now, you do still have your ability to retaliate, so when you're knocked down, you can retaliate and jump back up. You have your iframe abilities, which can give you, a way to be immune to some CC. You have blocks, you have dodges, all this other sort of stuff. But in the scenario that you are CC'd over and over and over again, it's going to give you an immunity. And the system seems like it's pretty straightforward, it's pretty simple, seems like it's going to work the same for everybody, and I like it. It sounds like it works really, really good, and I can't wait to get in game and actually try it. And last but not least are a couple of videos they put out about the Griffin. Now, the first one here is kind of a spoof, kind of a funny little sketch, and I'm so glad J. Todd Coleman, I mean, this is like the owner of the company, this is like a well-established, respected developer, and he's still willing to do this kind of funny stuff and almost kind of make fun of himself and the team. It's kind of a joke here where they talk about the design development process, where he comes up with this awesome sketch that looks super cool, with this scorpion tail, and he wants the team to put it together and make it look cool. It's kind of like that Centaur video we had a few weeks ago where it's kind of a joke, but it's really funny. Go check it out. We also got an actual serious video here about the Griffin, what it actually looks like in game, and the process of animating it. Now, this is with Nicholas McBride, and he's the one that does most, if not all, of the animations in the game. And I don't know how you do. I mean, this Griffin has 4 legs and 2 wings and a tail, and like, you got to go through all that to make it look realistic and smooth. And so it's about a 20-minute video. He talks about how he did it, the process, the animations, all this sort of stuff, what it's like to work on it. So if you like that sort of developer inside look, it's really, really great. But last but not least, right at the very end of the video, they show you kind of what it looks like now in game. And I think it looks really, really amazing here. You see it swoop down, and then, I mean, this is the 3rd stage. Remember, the animals and creatures kind of deteriorate over time. And I mean, it just looks amazing. This is stage 3. It's got the bones and the claws, and it looks great. Now, I know a lot of people say, I don't care how it looks. I just want the game to be good and play good. And I agree with you. If the game doesn't have good mechanics, and if the servers aren't good, then that ruins it, even if it looks good. But at the same time, I want to play a game that looks like it came out in 2016. I want the animations to be smooth and for it to look good. And my huge monster PC, I want it to be useful and work well. I don't want single-player games to be the only games that are actually good looking. I want MMOs to get, the awesome looking graphics and animations they deserve, and these guys are definitely doing that. Nicholas McBride, everything you do, I think, looks really, really good so far, so keep it up. And that's it this week for Crowfall Insider. We gotta look at the Legionnaire in-game. Let me know, are you planning on playing a Legionnaire? Do you think it's really awesome? I think it looks pretty cool. I don't know, they're kind of slow and they're giant. I like to play quick, fast moving characters, but the Legionnaire definitely looks cool. I haven't really gotten to play a Centaur in any other game. Also, the barrels, how do you feel about the physics stuff and being knocked down down and moved around. I'm really looking forward to that in the game. I'm a little worried what kind of, how hard that's going to be on the servers as far as processing all that information. Is it going to make the game laggy and stuff? Hopefully not. We're going to have to take a look. We also got to see Thomas Blair in his natural habitat, surrounded by kittens, and we got to know him a little bit better. He's a hardcore gamer who's now a hardcore developer. I'm so glad he's on the team. Also, free founder guild halls for anyone with reserve a guild name or higher in your tier. We got to look at the CC system with the resolve mechanic, which I think sounds really great. I don't think 15 seconds is too long, but if you think it is, let me know in the comments down below with why you think it is, maybe with some examples and some reasonable explanations. Also, last but not least, we got a really funny Griffin video and an animation video, which I think looks great. I love this behind the scenes sort of video, seeing where they're at in the game, and I think out of everything that I've seen of the game, which has been great so far, the best part of this whole process with being part of the Kickstarter and this game in general is how transparent and how much information they've given us. It's been really awesome, and I'm so glad to be a part of this game. Hopefully the game is amazing as well. We'll have to wait and see. Alpha's going to start here probably in just a few weeks, within the month, and I'm going to be in there playing as soon as possible. I hope to see you out there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.